Someone once asked me, what is a community that I would want to be a part of? I want to be part of something that builds me up. I want to be a part of something that's bigger than myself. I want to be a part of something that reminds me who I am. I want to be a part of something that reminds me that we are put on this earth for a purpose, and that purpose is to serve Him. But I can't do that alone. So where can I find this community? We're called to create this community, and that's not just my opinion alone. Here are some opinions of other people too. If we started a youth group, would you come to the meetings?
Yes, I would.
Why? In the beginning, why?
To see how it goes and whether it's beneficial or not.
Like, I can't say a firm yes, because it depends like at what time, if I'm free or not. I'm busy with school or work, so, but I would love to.
Yeah.
Why?
I think it's like good to connect.
Would encourage you to come.
Knowing that it would be more people than just like 2 or 3. Like
Okay.
if there was a couple people going, I would definitely go.
Okay.
If it's like an engaging meeting, like if it's entertaining to me and just like I'm like gaining benefit from it, like I would love to attend, but not just like an obligation to show up for 2 or 3 hours.
Make you continue.
If I felt like I was challenged or I was learning new things or even pondering on things that I already know.
Fair enough. So if it's making you grow.
Sorry?
If it's making you grow, basically. Okay.
A mix between like camaraderie, where we all hang out and talk as like friends, and then the other part is more like the spiritual side, where we talk about like faith and Jesus and religion and all that section.
I don't know, I just feel like not everyone gets along.
Okay.
And there's like groups of people, right?
Yeah.
That get along better than other people. And like, I don't know, sometimes like I don't feel like I belong in that group, in the youth meeting type of group.
Okay.
So, like that's kind of why I don't really come.
Probably more outreach. Like I think like for a while our youth group has been really small, so it's been hard for us to reach outside of our group into our community. So if we had a big enough group, I hope it would be easier to like go out and evangelize or do things like that, like more outings that like involved like interacting with Christian groups outside of our own, just to like, I think that would help us
Like bridging the gap.
yeah, that makes sense. Like if we had Bible study, like inviting someone, like I'm sure we all have friends who are Christian that aren't Coptic Orthodox, like the opportunity to invite someone who's Protestant to a Coptic Orthodox Bible study, like that would be really cool, just to get like different opinions while still knowing where we stand. Like we can still go back to our own group and talk about like, okay, we don't agree with this, but there is that like common aspect between the two different Christian groups. I don't know. I think it's less formal than like emailing or phone calling, just like actually forming friendships with them.
I would like to see us tackle challenging subjects, things that really make us think or get to the core of our faith, or just things that we face in this generation.
I don't know, it's just like a change in the attitude, like of everyone in general. Like I'm like me too. Like I don't reach out to other people like personally. I'm not calling people out. I'm just saying like
No, I understand.
like I don't make the effort either. So
and it's not just you, a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
But that's
so-
why I'm asking, like, how can we get better? Because if part of the group doesn't feel like they belong to the group, then clearly we're not doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we all need to put in like the effort to get along.
Yeah.
In that sense.
What is your favorite thing about the Coptic Church?
Oh my goodness. Like where do you even start? The nearly 2,000-year-old tradition. There's that. There's also the fact that people are still being persecuted for their faith right now, and it's not stopping the church from growing. The church is actually continuing to grow, and that's something that no one should take for granted. It's a beauty that is really unheard of nowadays.
Probably like the consistency. Like I think because it's so consistent, it's like so humble, because we're not so quick to like, we don't change our answers according to like what's going on in the world. I love how it's like there's times where I hate how it's so rigid, but like when I think about it, like that is my favorite part, just because it's nice knowing that regardless of people's opinions, like we're not going to change our stance that was the same in the first century.
I guess like in the Coptic church, it's kind of special church because like when you go to church or you feel like you're going like to see your family kind of thing, like everyone was like caring and just like you feel that, I don't know, like
Yeah, there's like a unity.
inclusivity or something like that. So that's what I like about the church.
What is your most favorite thing about the Coptic Church?
That we're Egyptian.
Okay. Patriotism.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite thing about the Coptic Church?
Also, because we're Egyptian, we have a very.
It's a double-edged sword.
It is, yeah.
Well, there's this kind of like, there's a lot of like, problems that people see like English is a problem with them because like they're Egyptians and like we don't like the English and then like we live in Canada and that's like the language we speak. So.
Probably like the language barrier. Like I can understand Arabic and speak a little bit of Arabic, but it just sucks that a lot of these like golden resources that people talk about in our church are in Arabic, and it feels like I'm missing out on a lot, and it's easier to turn to like outside English sources that aren't Coptic but are Christian. So I wish it was a little bit easier to access English resources and not feel guilty for asking for things in English and not feel like I'm abandoning Coptic. I think the way the meetings are done, like I don't like feeling like people are doing it in English for my sake. Like I wish it was like the first instinct was to do things in English. It sucks that it's like, oh, because someone who was born and raised here, not in Egypt, is here, we should do this in English. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like
It's
guilt.
not.
But I can't see even
guilt.
what's wrong with that, even if they're just doing it for
I
the
know,
sake of,
it's like one of
really-
those things that like I wouldn't, like I'm so happy that they're doing it for me. Like I wouldn't say like, oh, don't do this for me, but it just doesn't feel as comfortable.
Our lack of connection or understanding to our faith or the liturgy, or just an incomplete understanding maybe. And then because if we fully understood everything, then it would reflect through our actions, and then we would be welcoming, we would be.
So it's like a big cycle.
Yeah.
I feel like we're a lot more strict than other churches.
Okay. In what
Long
sense?
masses, long fasts. Kind of, I don't know, like restrictive in many ways.
What is one memory you love as a kid while participating at church?
I remember when I was a kid, when Abuna does the procession where the deacon holds the cross and the gospel and then he goes around 6 times. I didn't know what I was doing. So after I do that, I go up to Abuna as he's with the censer. And someone was like, Abuna, like, why are you following me? And then he starts laughing in the middle of the liturgy. So that was a good memory.
So there's the part of the liturgy where the deacon has to like wash the priest's hands if there's like no sink, so he just uses like a pitcher of water, and then Abuna put the towel on my head.
When we would have choir performances, like I know you were saying like the car rides, like for me it was the performances when we would wear like, each of us would be a saint and we would wear like a poster.
I remember
Like,
that.
We would wear a poster with like strings with that picture of that saint, and we would all go to the altar and sing. And I remember like it was really fun, like, and it was fun, like people were so competitive about what saint they would be, like that's how much we loved saints. So that's one of my favorite memories.
What do you like best about other churches around town?
I really like that they have this really like vivacious, welcoming spirit that makes you feel like you want to be there, and that you're welcoming time. It's for everyone.
Maybe the diversity. No, your favorite thing about other churches.
Again, it'd probably be the worshiping aspect. I think they're really in tune with their relationship with God. And I think sometimes we take that for granted because we have all these other traditions and rituals that we do. So we think that substitutes for a relationship, but it doesn't.
Okay.
So instead of using it to complement each other, we kind of trade one thing off for the other. And that's why I think like sometimes it's easy to get into rote memorization or just like motions, because you don't, I don't know, I won't say we don't, but sometimes it's easy to forget to include that personal aspect of having Jesus, and I think other churches are really good about that. Like they make him the center of everything.
The liturgy is shorter than ours.
Okay.
Probably the singing. Like I really like how like Western Christian churches, like their singing is more like, it sometimes feels more like genuine, like it feels more like I know we're like not necessarily about like the whole like spontaneous like speaking in tongues and like all of that, but like there's like so much passion when they sing, and I really like that. And I like how they like bring all these instruments in that are like part of like Western culture.
Outside of Mass, how do you like to praise God?
Like helping people, because like when you help people, that's basically praising God, because it's just like following his teaching, is basically praising him.
On my own, like personal prayers.
Mostly in the most silent times, or just like in silent moments where there's no one around me, or there's no one talking to me, and I just like all I have is me and my thoughts. And I feel like that's the most time I like praise or talk to God.
Through my acts. Yeah, that's it.
And it's simple as that.
Yeah, I'm
like
serious.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
if you're showing people that you're like compassionate, that you're like love them, and like all of that kind of stuff, you're praising God through your acts.
This is my opinion and theirs, but it's not just ours, it's yours too. This community is as much yours as it is mine, and we're called to create it together. So I'm inviting you to come out to the St. Mary's Youth Group so that we can create this community together.